Okay, guys. Hello again. I have to say something before I start the class because last week I forgot to start the recording. So I have to do, or yes, I have to do again or I have to review again all the topics that we saw on Tuesday. So sorry for that. I really hope you. I don't know. I really hope you can understand and you can yes can understand all the things that I'm gonna say, especially the ones that didn't come last class because I think all of the students that were here on Tuesday they resolved their doubts, but for the ones that weren't here, I think it could be kind of difficult to understand the things that I'm gonna say. But if you have any questions, you know that you can contact me through email or through a Blackboard platform. Yes, so you can standard all your questions or your doubts. So I'm gonna start again. We work on Tuesday on the topics of the week of the second week, temas de la semana dos. As I told you on Tuesday, we don't have a specific topic in today's lesson because we haven't worked with the Blackboard platform, and even if we have, the reality is that units on Blackboard are so complex that it is difficult for us to have a specific topic for a session. So we're gonna work like this along the course, like topics or subjects of the specific week we are in the course. So today's session is about temas de la semana dos. Okay, let's start with the first slide. Okay, the to-do list or today's program or Tuesday's program. The things that we're going to review on this session are the goal for this session, the last week topics or the last week discussion, which is mainly about the course, about rules and something like that. We're going to show that in a minute. Then we had on Tuesday a practical activity. Today or in this recording, you are not going to find any practical activity. I'm just going to show you the things that we did last class, but we are not going to have this practical activity in the recording because I forgot to record. Sorry. Then we have, or we had on Tuesday again, a doubts space. We are not going to have these doubts in this video. So again, if you have any question, if you have any doubt, please send me a message, okay? Then we're going to review next week activities, and I'm going to do a summing up. Again, we had at the end of the class on Tuesday another space of doubts, but as I told you before, I forgot to record, so we're not going to have the doubts that were established on Tuesday in this recording. So sorry for that. Let's start with the goal for today's session. Okay, in this session, the main purpose is that students will be able to identify the main reasons for learning a second language. And they are going to focus on the question, why is it important nowadays to learn a foreign language? The main thing of this activity of the last practical activity that we did on Tuesday was just to to see, yes, to see or to have a wide scope of the reasons why you are learning a second language, and especially English. And we are going to try to focus on that because, or we try to focus on that because I think it's really important for us to be aware of the things or of the reasons uh, that are having us here in this course. Okay, that are how can I say this? That are the base in which we are founding all of our um, future in this career, because you have to work on this career for several years. So I think it's very important for you to understand why or what are your main reasons for learning a second language, and especially English, okay? Last week, the main points of last week. Well, we have here a short list. We did a teacher's presentation. Of course, when I say last week, I'm referring to Tuesday, 10th of September. So this is what we saw on the and you have of course the video in Blackboard platform of this session. Teacher's presentation. We talk about the subject. We also talked about the rules, the due dates, academic integrity, and about online sessions or the tutor sessions. Let me just, the tutorial sessions. Let me just start with the teacher's presentation. Well, I told you my name, Juan Antonio Virgido Rivera. I also told you that I am a linguist. So I'm specialized in all the levels of language. Of course, my career is not focused on English, but I think it's a very, it is a good point to start a deeper study of any other language, in this case, English. Because linguistics, when you study linguistics, you have a very good a very good understanding on the ways in which language is found in the society and in the structure and in the vocabulary and in all the levels of the language. We're not going to talk about this in this course, but it's very important for you. You are going to work these levels of language, or you are going to work this discipline in another subject. So let's stop there. But I'm a linguist. Then we talk about the subject, which is English 1. And I told you too that you have to be very careful with that, because even if I saw in the presentation form that all of you, or some of you, or at least most of you, have a very good level of English, I think not an A1. It's important for you to be aware that this course is to get an A1 level, which is the basic level. We talked also about Marco Común Europeo de Referencia. I don't remember in this moment the name of it in English, but it was the name in Spanish. And we talked also about the way in which this agreement, international agreement, measures the level of any language in a learner. And in this case, we talked also about the 6 levels that we can find in any language. Obviously, when you take the Marco de Referencia Europeo as the base of your program, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, and C2. And we agreed, or I told you, that this course is mainly thought as a A1 level English subject. So in this case, the main goal of the subject is to get that level, okay? Then we talk something about the rules, mainly communication channels and response time. I told you that communication channels, we only have the possibility, or the only possibility we have to communicate is through Blackboard or through the institutional email, not only with me, but also with the coordinator. I also gave you the information to be in contact with the coordinator, so I don't think I need to repeat that. You have the information in the presentation, and also you have the information in the, I don't remember if it's the página principal tab in Blackboard, but you have there the information. Then we talked something about the response time, and yes, principally in 2 cases. In the case of messages, I told you that I have the requirement, or yes, the requirement is that I have to answer your emails or your messages before 24 hours, or the limit is 24 hours. So that's the limit for applying messages. Then we have the response time for activities, which is 74 hours, which is 3 days. So I have 3 days to check the answers of your yes, the answers or the deliveries you did you do in Blackboard. Then we talked something about due dates, the limits or the dates you have to deliver all the activities. And it's very important for you to take this into account. So I really want you to go to the presentation and to go also, I think in this case it's in Anuncios tab. You have there the chronogram or the calendar, and it's very important for you to have that in mind because as I told you on that class, the program is kind of complicated. So you have to organize very well your time in order to achieve or to complete all the activities in time, and not only in time, but I don't know, in a calm way. Because if you do the activities in a hurry, you're going to have problems. I'm going to talk about this in a moment, but it's very important for you to have a very good organization in order to take it easy and to deliver all the activities. Then we talked something about academic integrity, which is only a concept, but I think UVM and also think it's a very good it's a very good it's an interesting and a really good characteristic of UVM point of view, which is to have this concept in mind all the time, academic integrity, which is just a way to behave. It's a way of behavior inside an academic environment. We're going to talk about this later also. And then we also talked something about the online sessions. I told you that all our sessions are going to be on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. So it is important for you to remind that. And also we're going to have the 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 online session in the same link, so you don't have to search for another one. We have the same link for all the classes we're going to have during this period. Okay. Okay. We saw this about the main points of the first week of our course. Then we start with today's activity or with the activity. I asked you to go to the link and share with me and with us where your classmates, your answers for these questions. And I asked you two questions. The first one was, why is it important nowadays to learn a second language? And the second one is, what is your primary motivation for learning language, for learning English? Then I shared with you this link on the chat, and you write something about these questions in the slides I shared with you. Just let me go there so you can see all the answers of your classmates. Okay. Here we go. Let me go. Okay, yes. So the activity was this one, English 1, activity week 2. The first question we have here is, okay, why is it important nowadays to learn a second language? And the answers of your classmate were, the first one, I think it is a good opportunity now for the facilities and options that we have to learn. And it is for a good development, depends your goals, it could be or professional. Nowadays, the globalization is growing, and for best opportunities, it is important to learn a second language. It is important because it provides us with more opportunities in different areas. I think it's very important. It's important to communicate not only with people from our country, but also communicate with people from other countries because it's a way to get a great job and improve your lifestyle. The world population is becoming more interconnected due to globalization and technology. It has its repercussions in how we relate with each other. So learning a second language is important both for job searching and enriching our life and culture. Having more chances of landing a good job, be more prepared and confident to travel and explore the world and cultures. I think it's important because of globalization, being able to speak multiple languages opens up opportunities to interact with different people. It will help me in the future for my future career. Just let me check something. Mhm. Sorry. It will help me in the future for my future career, for cultural appreciation and employment opportunities. I think it's important because it gives you more job opportunities and the chance to communicate with people in other countries. In a world with a million of cultures, history, and people, it's a new form to new a new vision. Because if you know a second language, you can open more windows that you can with one. You can have more chance to find a better job. And I was telling your classmates that the main points that I can see in this slide is that you think that it's important to learn a second language because it can improve, sorry, the opportunities of getting a better job, and it is also um, a way in which we can introduce us or introduce ourselves into new cultures, to new cultures, new visions, to communicate with people around the world. I also was telling your classmates that this is very important for us because we have to understand that even when we are in a context in which communicate with other cultures is kind of easy or is kind of easier because you can use, for example, an AI, you can use your cell phone, you can use Google Translator, you can use whichever tool you think of, you can use it to communicate with other people. And you don't need to learn the language. But as I told your classmates, I think it's very important for us to understand that it is not the same. To be in a culture, to be in a society, means to learn a language. And as I was told you, your classmates last session, it means that we have the opportunity by speaking a language to see the world in a way in which that language can see in a way that that language only can see. You know, as I told them, it's not the same to speak English and to see the world in an English way. And it's not the same as if you speak Spanish and you see the world in a Spanish way. It's a kind of philosophical idea, but I think it's very important for us to understand this. Language is our home. For example, in our case, Spanish is our home. We cannot see the world in another way that is in another way that it is in the Spanish way. You know, even if we are not aware of that, or we don't have the yes, we don't assume that consciously because we don't know that. You really have to think about it deeply because language is a kind of very given thing. You know, you speak all the day, you speak all day Spanish, but you don't you in a very difficult yes, or it is not easy for you to stop during your day and to start thinking about the question why I speak Spanish or why yes, what kind of limits has Spanish, for example. So I think it's very important for us to understand understand this. Yeah. So this is about to learn a second language. Then go with the next one, which is what is your primary motivation for learning English? I'm gonna read again. My motivation it is to migrate to another country. So if I learn English, it would be faster to the cultural adaptation. Communicating with people, I find people's stories fascinating. Grade a good job and improve myself and learn how to communicate with new friends. Speaking English make it easier to travel and visit other countries. I love travel and I want to communicate better with the people who live principally in the USA. Connect with people and their history. My motivation to learn English is getting a better job and traveling all around the world, getting the chance to communicate properly with people, to be able to open myself for a better job. I think is to get the ability to communicate successfully and fluently, learn about other cultures in another country because English is the most used language in the world. My motivation for learning English is it's one of the most important language to learn within my career and any if you want to advance in any career or job. It's also one of the languages taught throughout the world, and it can facilitate interacting with other cultures around the world. I think you touched a very interesting point in this activity because even if we are not aware of this in this moment or we think in another way, we can agree that English is a very important or is the most important language in the world because as I was told you on Tuesday, um, you know that China in this moment is getting it's getting or yes we have a high expectation about what is going to achieve China. But in reality, even if we want to learn Chinese, it is easiest for us if we learn English. English is taught all around the world. Anywhere you go or anywhere you go on the world, in any country, in any city, is a very it's kind of a matter of fact that you are going to find a person who can speak English. So it is it is easiest for us it is easier for us, sorry, if we find a person that can interact with us in a language that we already know. Let me explain myself. When you are interacting with another people in another country in the same language, you know, both of you know the language. I know English, he, she, or they know English. So it is easier for us to communicate in that way. And we already know the language. We don't have to learn another language. So the fact that English is a cross-cultural language, in this moment is a cross-cultural language, is an important fact to learn it. Because Chinese, German, Russian, Spanish, Portuguese, whichever language you think about, is not going to replace English in a short time in the future, further, you know? English is going to be, or is continuing to be the main language across the world. See, so yes, so it's important for us to understand that. Sorry, I'm kind of getting stuck because I have some distractors right now, but sorry. So this is the way we talk about this on the class. So this was the mainly points we touched on that class. Okay, and let me just search for something. Very good. Okay, let's return to the presentation. Sorry. So that was the activity. I think it was a good activity. We kind of saw a lot of things that I think are very important. This is not the one. This is the one. Sorry, I'm searching for the presentation. Okay, so today's activity, we did this activity. And after that, we had this space for questions. Of course, your classmates had questions, but I didn't record them, so sorry for that. The next one was next week activities. Okay, and this was a kind of large explanation. I'm gonna try to recover all the things that I said on Tuesday. I told you that for this week, or specifically for Monday, which is 23rd, 20, September 23rd, you have to deliver 3 units. Unit 1, I am. Unit 2, great people. And Unit 3, come in. I remember. I also explained this in Spanish. Just let me, okay, I'm gonna finish this explanation in English, and then I'm gonna pass to Spanish when I go to the next slide. So we have 3 units, and each of these units has 2 deliveries, or 2 activities that you have to deliver or you have to realize for next Monday. Student scores and progress tests. As you can see in the presentation, you have, for Unit 1, you have student scores, Unit 1, I am, and then you have Unit 1 progress test. For Unit 2, you have the same thing, student scores, Unit 2 great people, and Unit 2 progress test. And for Unit 3 come in, you have exactly the same. Student scores, Unit 3 come in, Unit 3 progress test. And I was telling your classmates that for each of these activities, 6 activities, not 3, 6 activities, you have this weighing for each of these activities. Point 25, how can I say this? Just let me check something. Decimals. So at the end of this week, you or the purpose of the unit is that you get 1.5 point. Sorry, 1/2 point. The total of this week's activity, the total of this or the activities of this week. Okay. So this is very important for us. I'm gonna switch to Spanish so you can understand all of this. So les decía, entonces, para la siguiente semana de actividades tenemos 3 unidades y cada una de estas unidades tiene, o a cada una de estas 2 unidades se les asocian 2 actividades. A la unidad 1, Student Scores, Unit 1, I am, y Unit 1, Progress Test. A la unidad 2 se le asocia Student Scores, Unit 2, Great People, Unit 2, Progress Test. Y a la unidad 3 tenemos en Student Scores, Unit 3, and Unit 3, Progress Test. Todas las unidades de la plataforma, de aquí en adelante, todas, tienen la misma estructura. Curso de estudiante, Progress Test. Examen de progreso, podríamos traducirlo así. Y les decía que cada una de estas 6 actividades tiene un porcentaje, que sería 0.25 décimas. Que al final de esta semana, la idea es que ustedes hayan conseguido o consigan 1,5 puntos o 1.5 de la calificación total de final, ¿vale? O sea, recuerden que en las 12 unidades, si ustedes van al programa que aparece en Blackboard, si sumamos todo lo que se hace a lo largo de las 12 unidades, les va a dar el 10 de calificación. Por lo tanto, estas 3 primeras unidades solamente nos sirven para ganar 1.5 de esa calificación final, ¿vale? Importante, que esto sí me detuve bastante. Important, units are larger than they seem to be. I don't have access to all your answers. Scores are generated automatically. You must have activated Cambridge platform from Blackboard, and having done the activities doesn't guarantee a total score. Vamos por partes. Units are larger than they seem to be. Lo que les decía a sus compañeros es que deben de tener mucho cuidado porque las unidades, cada una de las unidades tiene estos dos elementos. El Students Course Unit 1 usualmente es el desarrollo de la unidad y es muy larga. Si la hacen bien y la hacen con calma, más o menos, le calculo yo, por cada uno de esos elementos, 1 hora, si no es que hasta 2 horas. Y luego de eso tienen el Progress Test. Yo no tengo acceso a los Progress Test, entonces no sé realmente qué tan largos sean. Por lo que les recomiendo que aparten un buen periodo de tiempo para que resuelvan las unidades. ¿Vale? Entonces, cada una de las unidades es más larga de lo que parece. Y eso implica necesariamente tiempo. Y les decía a sus compañeros, y sean conscientes de que si ustedes lo van dejando para el final, por ejemplo, sabemos que estas 3 unidades y las siguientes 2 que vamos a hacer para la siguiente semana, tenemos hasta el 30 para realizarlas. Pero yo les recomendaría que no se esperaran hasta esa fecha, porque son muy largas y no les va a dar tiempo de hacerlas. ¿Sí? Si lo dejan para el 29. O sea, sí, a lo mejor, tal vez si se sientan todo el día a realizarlas, pero si no, no les va a dar tiempo. Entonces tengan mucho cuidado con eso, organicen bien sus semanas, organicen bien sus tiempos para que las unidades las vayan haciendo con calma. No tengo acceso a todas sus respuestas, porque por ahí me habían preguntado si yo podía aumentar la calificación por revisando las respuestas manualmente. Ya revisé la plataforma en donde nosotros tenemos acceso a lo que podemos calificar y no me deja revisar sus respuestas. Como les decía yo a sus compañeros, esto tiene que ver con la tecnología que utiliza la plataforma, ¿vale? Cambridge en ese sentido ya se ha actualizado bastante y les comentaba que incluso ni siquiera tengo acceso a los audios, o por lo menos no en donde yo he visto, no tengo acceso a los audios que ustedes hacen, las grabaciones. Si la plataforma funciona como creo que funciona, lo que hace la plataforma es que, por ejemplo, si ustedes graban su voz, la plataforma lo compara con grabaciones de hablantes nativos y decide qué tan cercana es la pronunciación y asigna una calificación. Lo mismo pasa con los textos, y esto es muy importante porque de lo que he revisado, tengo acceso solamente a los textos que aparecen incluso al final de la unidad, ni siquiera los que están en el medio, sino el texto que me tienen que entregar al final. Y les explicaba. Aquí también la inteligencia artificial está haciendo un muy buen trabajo y en muchos de los casos la calificación que les pone es la calificación real, porque la inteligencia artificial lo que hace, incluso cuando ustedes le ponen a ChatGPT que les corrija un texto, en inglés, se los va a corregir bastante bien, bastante adecuado al inglés nativo. Entonces, lo que hace la aplicación es que revisa la gramática escrita, revisa el vocabulario, etcétera, y asigna una calificación total. Entonces, yo puedo poner y puedo evidentemente revisar eso y poner otro tipo de comentarios, otro tipo de cosas si es que lo amerita. Pero en general, la inteligencia artificial es muy buena calificando esto, ¿vale? Entonces, para que tengan conciencia de esto, la calificación que les aparece es la calificación que tienen por el tercer punto, porque las calificaciones son generadas automáticamente. La misma plataforma evalúa todas las respuestas y arroja una calificación, que sí es, podríamos decirlo en un primer momento, es, no es parcial. ¿Cuál es la palabra en español? Sería, en un primer momento es preliminar, pero que no necesariamente, a lo mejor en la siguiente paso, cuando yo reviso los textos, no cambia, porque los textos, les repito, la aplicación los evaluó bastante bien. Ahora, Creo, esto tómenlo con pinzas porque esto me acabo de enterar en estos días, esto no lo mencioné en la clase del martes, que si yo pongo en la plataforma que ustedes pueden hacer otro intento, creo que ustedes pueden realizar otra vez la actividad, pero lo que no sé es si pueden realizar toda la actividad o solamente realizan la actividad en donde estoy colocando que pueden volver a contestar, ¿sí? Entonces, para que tengan eso en mente. Cuarto punto, you must have activated Cambridge platform from Blackboard. Debieron haber activado la plataforma de Cambridge desde Blackboard. ¿Por qué? Esto lo tienen también en página principal o anuncios, si no mal recuerdo. El código de acceso lo tienen que activar desde Blackboard. Es decir, tienen que abrir la plataforma desde Blackboard y desde ahí tienen que activar. O no sé bien cómo funciona esto, pero de que lo tienen que hacer desde Blackboard, lo tienen que hacer desde Blackboard. El código lo tienen que meter desde ahí. ¿Por qué? Porque es la única manera de ligar, de unir Blackboard con la plataforma de Cambridge. ¿Y por qué es importante esto? Porque como la plataforma de Cambridge evalúa automáticamente, la calificación que ustedes obtienen en la plataforma se pasa directamente al tablero de Blackboard. Muchos de ustedes, para los que realizaron ya la actividad, se dieron cuenta de que la calificación asignada en la plataforma de Cambridge se pasó directamente a Blackboard. Y eso es muy importante porque yo no puedo meter ninguna calificación de manera manual. Aunque quisiera, no podría porque no tengo acceso a ninguna de sus respuestas. Por eso es tan importante que hayan activado el código desde Blackboard. Y por eso también es muy importante que se cercioren de que lo están haciendo. ¿Cómo me cercioro? Si yo realicé la actividad y la calificación que obtuve en la actividad aparece en Blackboard, sin que yo haya hecho nada, porque no pueden hacer tampoco nada, quiere decir que las dos plataformas están unidas. Si yo realicé la actividad y no apareció la calificación en la plataforma de Blackboard, quiere decir que no conecté las dos aplicaciones. Entonces necesito que para allá vayan a coordinación, a sistemas, a donde tengan que ir, para que resuelvan ese problema y puedan unir la plataforma con Blackboard, ¿vale? Porque sí es muy importante. Les digo, ¿por qué no les puedo poner una calificación? Aunque quisiera, no puedo ver sus respuestas, no puedo porque la plataforma lo genera automáticamente. Entonces, si ustedes no las unen, no hay calificación, así de fácil. Entonces, si hay problemas, resuélvanlo. Having done the activities doesn't guarantee a total score. Y esto simplemente tiene que ver con esto de acá. Aquí van a ganar 1.5 puntos, pero tienen que ser muy conscientes de que esto no necesariamente es lo que tienen que ganar. ¿A qué me refiero? Si, por ejemplo, en el Students Course Unit 1, ustedes tuvieron un 5 de calificación, quiere decir que a lo mejor ustedes solamente van a tener un 0.13 décimas, porque obtuvieron la mitad de la calificación. Si tuvieron a lo mejor un 9 en el Unit 1 Progress Test, más o menos andará como el punto, no, porque no es punto 10, sería más o menos punto 0.02 décimas. Bueno, no, con 9 sería 0.23 décimas más o menos. Estoy calculando, 0.23 décimas. Entonces, cuando al final se sumen todas esas calificaciones, no les va a dar el 1.50. Y por eso es que aunque ustedes hayan tenido a lo mejor 9 o ese 9 que les aparece en Blackboard, lo tenemos que transformar al 1.50. Eso ya no lo hacen ustedes, lo hace la plataforma. Pero sí me interesa que sean conscientes de este punto para que luego no se diga de que, es que yo realicé todas las actividades, sí, pero que las hayas realizado no quiere decir necesariamente que por eso vas a sacar 10 o que vas a obtener todos los puntos. Depende de la calificación que obtuviste y las transformaciones que hace el sistema para saber cuánto de ese 1.50 de la segunda semana obtuviste de acuerdo a tu calificación, ¿sí? Entonces, también en esto tengan como cuidado, ¿vale? Y esto fue lo que más o menos vimos de las actividades de las semanas pasadas. Lo más importante creo que aquí en este momento es el asunto de la plataforma, de unir la plataforma de Blackboard con la plataforma de Cambridge para que se pasen automáticamente las evaluaciones, ¿sí? Y el asunto de que las calificaciones se generan automáticamente y que yo no tengo acceso a todas sus respuestas, solamente a las que el sistema me dice, usted puede modificar aquí, pero más no puede, ¿sí? Entonces, ojo con eso, ¿sí? Para que no se confíen tanto. Y digo, está bien, porque podemos creer que estamos, y también les voy a ser sincero, es bueno que las plataformas sean automáticas porque son muy, ¿cómo podríamos decirlo? Son muy imparciales, ¿sí? No nos van a dar un punto de más, un punto de menos si la inteligencia artificial considera que no nos estamos acercando a lo requerido, ¿sí? O sea, realiza una evaluación bastante objetiva, vamos a hacerlo así. Entonces, la calificación que ustedes tienen ahí, pues es en realidad con base en su desempeño durante las lecciones. Ahora, también aquí depende mucho de cómo ustedes hayan respondido a las unidades. Si ustedes pasaron de largo la información y comenzaron a responder y a responder sin leer, sin hacer las actividades, sin ver los videos, pues entonces eso también va a afectar la calificación porque es importante que hagan todo el recorrido, ¿sí? Para que tengan toda la información necesaria para responder los ejercicios. Entonces también en eso tengan mucho cuidado, ¿sí? Puede que su desempeño, ustedes hayan creído que su desempeño fue muy bueno, pero habría que ver también cómo realizaron el ejercicio, ¿sí? Y eso pues es algo que ya no se puede controlar, ya es algo que depende absolutamente de ustedes. Entonces, cuidado con eso de ahí, ¿vale? Okay, after this, a brief Spanish section, because I really thought that it was important for us to know this information in Spanish, just to be clear, because it's our native language, and and I think that it is very important for us to have this in mind in a very specific way and in Spanish, because even if we are learning English, all your activities in this context, in our real context, is in Spanish. Sorry. So I think that's why it is very important for us. Then we did summing up. Could you do a summary about the activities you must do for next week? This question was answered for one of your classmates, so I don't need to repeat all of that because the only purpose of this question is for a classmate to assure me that some of you were paying attention to what I was saying, so you had the complete information. And of course, your classmate did a very good job in the summary. So this is just the summing up for that. Then we have again the ops space. Any questions? I remember that in this case, your classmates didn't have any questions, so I don't think we could have here any problem. But okay, and that's it. Mhm. Last but not least, we talk a little bit again about Integridad Académica. I asked to one of your classmates to read the image. I'm going to read for you. 5 principios que promueven la integridad académica, la justicia, permite evaluaciones objetivas que reconocen la veracidad y el amor por el aprendizaje, el respeto, impulsa las relaciones respetuosas entre los estudiantes, los profesores y el personal administrativo y a todos los procesos educativos, la responsabilidad promueve la capacidad de asumir las consecuencias de nuestras acciones y decisiones, la confianza propicia el reconocimiento de nuestras propias capacidades para alcanzar objetivos, y la honestidad implica ser consciente e íntegro hacia uno mismo y hacia los demás. And I was telling to the class that it is very important for us to understand that academic integrity is not a concept, or is not just a concept. Or in other words, it's a concept that we use to describe an appropriate way of being inside of an academic environment, inside an intellectual environment. This is very important for us because we have to be aware of the things that we do inside the academic environment, and we also have to be aware and have to be respectful and have to be I don't know, have to be we must be honest with the things that others are doing inside that environment, academic environment. So it's a way of being, it's a way of life inside the academic environment or inside a school, and especially a university, because in this case we have a lot of copyright things and all of that. But I think that's just the surface of the thing. The main point is to be aware that we are in a context in which we relate to each other as partners. You are my partner, you are my co-workers. So the work you do, the things you said, the thoughts you have are not only very important, but they also deserved that I'm respectful, or that I respect them. So so I'm not gonna steal them. I'm not gonna plagiarize them. I'm not gonna I don't know, those kind of things that are horrible. We're gonna continue talking about this concept, academic integrity, along the course. So this is not gonna be our last space to talk about academic integrity, but it's important for us to have this in mind. And at the end, I told them, or I told you, gracias, thank you very much. And we have here our phrase for this week. The only person you are destined to be, you are destined to become, is the person you decide to be. Okay, so I really hope you have all the information that I taught in Tuesday's class, and I'm again so sorry because I didn't record the actual class. Okay, next class I'm gonna ask some of you to remember that I have to record, so I don't have, not only because it's kind of tired, but also because I think we can miss information if I yes, we can miss information if I don't record the actual class. For example, doubts, participations, and all those kind of things, we can miss them if I don't record the class. So please, if you see, or if you, yes, if you see that I'm not recording the class next week, please tell me. So see you on Tuesday, and see you. Bye bye.